Karibu sana, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Sinema Corner. Today, we are privileged to talk to a man who has seen the Kenyan film industry grow, and a man who has contributed immensely to the growth of the industry. And like a gentleman that we talked to earlier, and you can check out what he said, that's Nyaga Makothe. It's a person who believes that it's possible to make film without millions and without those gigantic cameras. You can be able to tell stories, and it is actually possible to tell stories. Today we are talking to a multi-award winner and we're expecting more awards. He's won a Kalasha. He's also won a Kisima award, and now we are waiting for the Amaz to come. I'm sure he's also taking that one home. So today we are talking to none other than the guru himself, the guru of theater, a man I grew up reading newspapers and seeing play written by CAJETAN Boy, and today is with us in Sinema Corner. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Now, filmography yako ni mrefu. Hizi vitu zote tutajaribu kuzikava leo. Kama tutaweza kwa hii sitting moja, tutachapa sitting nyingine tu bado. So karibu sana. And we are happy to have you here. It's been a long time coming, but here we are.
Yeah.
So for those ones out there who want to be explained, wanataka kujua CAJETAN Boy ni nani? Karibu sana. You can tell them who is CAJETAN Boy.
Thank you. CAJETAN Boy is several things. I am a man, I am a father, I am a creative. I would like to think of myself as an educator and an entertainer. I would use a word that one of my friends coined, a phrase. I am an imagination engineer.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I engineer imagination. In other words, I tell you stories. I have worked in different media over time. For the past 15 years, I've been mainly in film. Before that, I was in theater. Maybe I will go into how the progression happened. I first encountered creativity professionally. I first got into being a professional creative through stage acting. I was contracted in a group that was at that time doing HIV/AIDS education using theater as a medium. So we would go to a place and act a play about 10-15 minutes. After the play, we would do a Q&A with the audience, and they would ask us questions. And then they would also, like, as we're dispersing, they would pick individual characters to go to talk to. So that is where I got professionally employed. They were called Miujiza players. They were domiciled at Mfangano Street. So while there, after having done several plays, the first two plays that we did were written by an author called J.P.R. Ocheng, also a very big author, seasoned writer. And the one was called Beer, and the other one I really can't remember the name. But those plays were very popular. But after doing those two plays for about 2 years, we were challenged as a cast by the then project manager, James Falkland, the late James Falkland, also another icon in Kenyan theatre. James Falkland challenged us, you guys are the cast. You've been doing these two plays for too long. Can you guys come up with something that you want to do? If any of you is interested in doing this, go ahead. And I was interested because I've always had an interest in writing. This is from childhood. I never knew it would get me anywhere. I just used to like writing essays and imaginary stories. But anyway, when we were challenged to do that, I wrote a play, a short play called Dilemma. And I took it to him. And I was waiting for like a lot of comments. And he read it and he said, okay, this play is about HIV/AIDS. The first lady your character should interact with to avoid any ambiguity should be related to him. So change it to a sister. Change it from a friend to a sister. I told him, fine, I'll do that. Then he said, go start rehearsal. And I was like, oh, okay, wow. So we did Dilemma and another 3 or 4, I think, one-act plays that I wrote. We did them as a part of the AIDS Cup program, to interesting reception. And eventually he told me, now James Falkland was he was the managing director for the Phoenix Players. He told me, listen, if you're willing to write a play, 1 set, few actors, if I think it can work, I will put it up at the Phoenix Theatre. And I was up for the challenge. So I sat down and I wrote Benta. And Benta for me is really an interesting story because, 1, it was my first full-length thing that I did consciously. And it was the first play, the first straight play by a Kenyan author to be done at the Phoenix.
Oh,
yeah.
So you're the first Kenyan writer to have your play staged
at the Phoenix. Yes.
At the Phoenix.
Yes, I say straight play because before that, the Phoenix used to do musicals. They had musicals also that they would do in a year. Then you find that the musicals would be written. You'd find there were some of them written by Kenyans, by James Falkland himself. But in terms of a straight play,
a dramatic play.
Yes, that was the first.
Okay.
I remember it because it was interesting that some actors actually refused to act in it. Some actors refused to act in it because it was done by a Kenyan, by CAJETAN. They thought it was beneath them. I'm not going to names. They know themselves. if they ever watch this clip, they know themselves. They refused to act it. Consequently, even ended up being in the cast of that play. It was an amazing first run, and it went well. The audience enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Just to digress, it got made into a book by a person who had come to watch the play, and she asked me after the event, I'd like to purchase this book for my students. And I was like, I don't have it's not published. It's just a screenplay, a play. I can give you the manuscript.
The manuscript.
And she was like, no, I can't take your manuscript. What I'll do, I'm going to publish it for you. And she published the book from so she could take 10 copies. She made me, I think, almost 500 copies.
Wow.
Anyway.
So the first play becomes a book. And I know later in the story it becomes a movie.
Yes. So after Benta, I do other plays. I do other plays that are also performed at the Phoenix. There was there was By Any Means Necessary. Then there was All Girls Together. Then there was Family Ties. But then it gets complicated because, 1, you find that when my play is done at the Phoenix, no other group wants to touch it. Again, you've got this thing that is crazy here in Kenya, that people want to be the only ones who do something. So if you write your plays done by one group, other groups are hesitant to do it because it's been done by another group. So you spend 6 months of your life, or 3 months, or 4 months, or 5 months, depending on how long you write, to write a script. It's performed at the Phoenix. By then, they would do a 2-week run, which was good, 14 shows. Nowadays, people are doing runs of 1 weekend. But they do a 2-week run, and after the 2-week run, the play is done. It's over, it's gone. So for me, there would be a feeling of loss, dissatisfaction. I want to see it done again. But people are not picking it up as much as I want it to be picked up. At the same time, people start telling you get word, people tell you, oh, I enjoyed that play, it could make a good movie. I like that, it could make a good movie. So I decided that I'm going to make one of my plays into a movie, my third play, which was called By Any Means Necessary. I decided I'm going to make a movie. And I put out feelers. Again, I spoke to some people who are in the industry still, some have left to do other things, and I would get comments like, what film school have you gone to? You think making a movie is easy? Where do you think you'll get the money? And it became a challenge. I had to make this movie because everybody who I talked to, who I thought would help me, was telling me I cannot make it. Fortunately, God, serendipity, I was working, by then I was writing a comic book for an outfit called Jacaranda Designs. I was writing a comic book called Nuru. It's a comic book series called Nuru, the Nuru series.
Not Nuru.
Yes, I was the script writer. And Jacaranda was looking into going into animation. And they had acquired some equipment. So I spoke to the lady of Jacaranda, an amazing lady called Susan Cavallo. I told her, I've got this script that I want to make into a movie. And she gave me conditions. You can use my equipment following the XYZ conditions. So I had equipment, I had a script, and I needed crew and cast. Cast was kind of nice and easy to get because I called on and worked with the people who had worked at the Phoenix, the theater.
The Phoenix Theater.
Yes, a lot of them. amazing people. If you can get the movie by any means necessary, it's got some amazing people who are in big shows right now, grown older like me, but in shows. It will be interesting if you can watch that.
We want those movies online at least so that we can be able to access them. But we'll talk about that later in this conversation.
So the actors came on board, and we shot the movie. And the editor of the movie, an amazing guy called Jimmy Gitonga, had never edited a movie before. He had gotten his computer, had got the software, but he said, I'm going to edit this movie. And he edited that movie. And I tell you, that movie, it is apt. The title of the movie is By Any Means Necessary, and the movie was also made
by any means necessary.
Then after that, shortly after that, I was applying all over the place. Because now I was like kind of decided I really want to pursue film. And about the same time, the Maisha Film Lab was born. And I applied for the Maisha Film Lab. And I got into the lab, to the Maisha Film Lab. And that was a life-changing experience. That was, I got into 2 labs. There was the first lab, which was a short lab. Then there was the long lab, the 3-week lab. And the 3-week lab was an eye-opener, and it changed my perception of what I want to do and making movies. The mentors were amazing. It is run by Miranaya. The mentors were amazing. While there, I directed Lupita. She was not yet the big star she is right now. But I directed Lupita in my movie there. It was called Roho. And, interestingly, when the 3-week lab ended, coming back to Kenya, so I've shot my 3 scenes. We were shooting, it was an amazing experience. You've got 3 days to shoot 3 scenes. But for each day, you only have 1 hour of tape. By then, we used to shoot on tape. You only have 1.
Mini DVs.
Yes. You're supposed to rewind. And it was an interesting experience because it taught us to edit. You edit in your head. You've got to know what you are taking. You've got to be economical with shooting. It's not like now, you're shooting on a card. Guys don't care. An editor gets an edit of 60 hours because the editor has been shooting everything inside. Yeah. But when you have a 1 hour tape,
you learn how to economize.
You've got to economize. You've got to economize. Anyway, now, leaving Jinja, it was in Jinja. So from Jinja, we come to Entebbe to fly to wherever we are going, we are dispersing. And one of the mentors tells me, I really like that script, and I want to make it. And so, Roho, which was the name of my movie when I was writing, it was called Roho, was optioned by an Indian producer called Vishal Bhardwaj, big-time Indian producer, and made into an Indian blockbuster called Kaminei. Oh. If you go and research Kaminei,
it's Roho.
Yes, and actually I get an opening credit for that. Oh. I get an opening credit in that movie. I remember when word came out about how much I was paid for the movie, and how much the budget of the movie was. There are people as usual who are like, how could it take so little? How could it? First of all, I try to tell people, I was nobody.
How much was it?
Oh, we shall discuss that later. At that time, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad money. I think I got $4,000.
That's 400K.
Yeah, that is, we're talking about 2004, 2005.
Okay.
That wasn't bad money.
That wasn't bad money.
But the money is unimportant. Here's the thing. The more important thing is the credit.
Is the credit, yes.
I have an opening credit on a blockbuster, Bollywood, not Bollywood, but Indian movie. That credit has put me places money would not take me. Right. And I even tried to tell people, when that guy was inserted in the movie, I was offering it to him free. I was telling him, just go and make it, borrow my name is there.
So the $4,000 was actually a surprise.
It was a bonus for me, and it changed my life in particular aspects. It put me on a level where I don't know how many other Kenyan writers have got a Bollywood credit. But I think I can say quite freely, not many. I can say that quite freely.
You probably are there.
Yeah, so that is, so from then on, I committed my life to making films. So I started by adapting the plays I had done first, and the ones that I began making into movies. So after By Any Means Necessary, I did Backlash, which was also a stage play. Then I did Benta. So my first stage play was my third movie. Yeah, but by Benta, I was getting into for lack of a better phrase, professional help. Because, before doing Benta, I got into Makutano Junction. Okay. I was through the late Gishora Mwangi, who had been approached by the media people to get writers, Gishora approached me also to help him get writers for Makutano.
Oh,
Ended
okay.
up going on Makutano as one of the writers the first season. While there, I met other Kenyan filmmakers. I met particularly Mary Migwi, Chris Rohio, Wanjugu Ndirangu then. And these guys were, one of them was a director, one was an editor, one was doing camera for the Makutano Junction. So while there, we became really close. So I remember asking them one time, hey, you guys, do we need a Muzungu to come in to make us do anything? Can't we just do something by ourselves? You guys have got the skill, you said they are technical, and I can write the script. They're not very 100% sure. They said, let us try something. So we tried with them Backlash. And when we did Backlash, everybody was happy with the results. They were happy, I was happy, everybody was happy with the results. So we decided, let's do Benta. So Benta had a bit more energy in it, a bit more financing. We tried to get financing for Benta. And I think the production standards of Benta, the production quality of Benta are really high. Even up right now, it can start up to any movie.
To the standards, yes.
Yeah, that is being done right now. So that was Benta. So after that, because of different things, people grow, people leave college, life changes, people went their different ways.
Yes.
I continued making movies, but then my approach became, I realized quite early on in the game, personally, that there was no money to be made in movies. There's no money, people will ask about return on investment. Personally, I think it is still a dream right now. So I hit on the strategy of making movies by collaboration. So I kind of told myself, I am not going out to make money, because I'm not going to make money. I'm not going out for fame unless it happens incidentally. What I'm going out to do is to work my craft. I'm going to work my craft to hope I can grow myself, grow other people, so that with time we can have what people call an industry. I don't know, I will not take any credit for it, but I can comfortably say, when I began, the first time I made By Any Means Necessary, and right now, when people are watching something like 40 Sticks, I can say that the industry has grown. True. There are more independent filmmakers, people are more courageous, people are more daring. It's no longer an issue that I have to have gone to a European film school, or I have to be connected to old money, yes, so that I can get all those things. So that is basically how I got to where I am now, in a long way.
We'll still go back there. There are many details, because and this is something that you're never afraid to mention, that for you it's not film school that brought you to the film industry. So because you're a very learned man, one can tell even from 5 kilometers away. Yeah. So what was your school life path?
My school life.
Yes, and did you actually go into theater, or did you begin in another career?
Well, let me tell you, I can tell you highlights. If I think about my primary school, I was in Catholic parochial here near Basilica.
You're a Nairobian, Bana.
I'm a Nairobian, totally. I was born.
Let me go back to something. I know many people ask you this question. CAJETAN Boy. What's with that name? Were you born and called CAJETAN Boy?
Yes, I am named because I have got a Catholic background, and Catholics have got many names. My totality, my names are Albert, CAJETAN, Richard, Boy. Okay. Those are my names on my identification documents. Okay. So people who were in primary school know me as Albert Boy. That is the name that was used in all of primary school. They know me as Albert Boy. When I went into secondary school, because in secondary school it was you're called by your second name and your initials, I became Boy ACR because of my initials. Yeah. My brother was also in the school, so Boy would have confused people. Yeah, so I was Boy ACR. When I went into college, I think by that time I was still Albert Boy. When I came into theater, I decided I'm going to use CAJETAN Boy. That's the condition I decided to use for theater, because in a way I wanted to separate, in my mind, even if for the general public, I want to separate my identities. Like right now, if somebody comes and calls me Albert, You mean in primary school,
Yeah.
or you grew up in some area
Or they
together.
watch Cinema Corner.
That too. So that is where I remember when I was in primary school. I remember vaguely, childhood memory, doing a play where I was acting a character. I was trying to get the king's daughter, and I remember that kind of vaguely. Come to secondary school. Secondary school, I really loved writing my compositions. I loved my essays. In Lenana, when I was in Lenana.
Ah, you're a changes guy.
I'm a changes guy.
Ah,
Yes,
okay.
I was in Lenana, and when I was in Lenana, I was the chairman of the drama club in my A levels. And when I was in Lenana as the chairman of the drama club, I remember for 1 year we adapted Ngugi's book River Between. It was the set book at that time, and we adapted it to be, and we performed it in Lenana. And back in the day, as opposed to nowadays, when you have professionals acting set books and students coming there, back in the day, students would act set books. And then the other schools would come to watch them in the school.
Come to watch in the school.
Yeah, and that's how the school would make money. So I remember that phase of my life. But by then I had no major interest in like I'm never going to make movies. Now, something I always forget to talk about until we reach this point. I remember my dad, before he retired, he's now up country, but before my dad retired, my dad at one time worked as the general manager of Fox Kenya.
Ah.
And at that time, Fox Kenya was Kenya Sinema, 20th Century, and Fox Drive-In.
Ah, Fox Drive-In, both in Bellevue and...
no, the Bellevue one was different. The Thika Road one.
The Thika Road one, just next to KCA University.
Yes. And for that period of my life, I can say this quite freely and quite frankly, I think for my late secondary school, late primary school, early secondary school, I think I watched almost every movie that ever came into this country.
Okay.
So I think by then, I did not know where my life was going to take me, but by then I was already learning movies, learning craft, watching, which is what people are told nowadays to do.
What are these movies that you are watching?
Oh, Terence Hill, Bud Spencer, Kina Break Dance. Man, I can think that.
And the Kung Fu movies.
Kung Fu movies, yeah, there's lots of Kung Fu movies. A lot of James Bond. James Bond was cool at that time. This is Sean Connery. See, we were movies like I remember Breakdance very clearly. I remember a lot of horror movies, the Omen movies.
Ah.
Yeah.
And The Exorcist.
The Exorcist. So like I watched a lot of movies. Apart from that, I could watch because of my age. I would get to watch. So I watched lots of movies.
Now that you've mentioned it, age. How old is Kaje?
Yeah. Kajetan is old. Kajetan is old. I am 54 years old.
Wow. We will let the ladies decide how old you look, but you don't look anything above 50.
Thanks. So so you see, it's a long time ago. So that's my background. So while in secondary school, I was in drama club. I was the chairman of the drama club. I had an adaptation for stage, but again, not putting much mind to it. Finished secondary school and got almost immediately into jobs. I got employed. I became a banker with the Barclays Bank.
Oh.
Now, at that time, they had a policy where you could grow from even a messenger into management. So it was a good place to be. But while I was there, the policy changed. Management could only become graduates. Only graduates could become management. The policy changed. So my life effectively was cut short. My future had a ceiling placed over my life.
Now you had to get a degree.
Yes, and at the same time, I had a vet lady who would always remind me how I was employed straight from school and had no degree. She'd never let me forget it. And if we fire you, where are you going to go? She'd never let me forget it. So I decided I was going to get a degree in anything. So 23rd or 24th, 23rd December, 22nd December, at the bank, I got my pay and I left. Knowing that I don't know where I'm going to go, I'm just going to apply for anything. So I applied for several things. Many of them are not coming through. Finally, I was called to KTTC.
Kenya Technical Teachers College.
Yes, but now I was called, because the course I had applied for, I was called to go to do a secretarial course.
Okay.
So, I go there the day, I think a day before, to pick your letters of confirmation and to do this stuff. And I go there, and I think I'm one of the 2 guys only over there.
2 dudes who decided to do secretarial.
Yes. But guy, I didn't want to do any course. I was ready to do any course. But then God works in mysterious ways. In the evening, I get home. Before I confirm to this college, I get another letter. I've been called to JKUCAT to go and study Agri-Eng. So I went to Jomo Kenyatta University College of Agriculture and Technology at that time, JKUCAT. I went there to study Agri-Eng. And I studied Agri-Eng for 4 years.
For millennials, he is talking about agricultural engineering.
Yeah. And while in JKUCAT, I met also with, again, another phase of my life began because I got now into music. We had an awesome reggae band called Grassroots. So while in JKUCAT for the 4 years, I studied agricultural engineering and played lots of reggae music. Awesome stuff. So
we'll talk about the reggae.
Again, my life has got mixed things, luck and bad luck. While still at JKUCAT, the Kenya government, which was the major employer of agricultural extension officers, which is what I would have become if I had graduated, decided they were no longer employing agricultural extension officers. So I was rendered jobless while I was still studying.
Well,
so I left college. I graduated, finished, came out, sat at home. And I sat at home for I think a year and a half, which was not a waste because I realized now that I was researching life. I had encounters with all kinds of people. I interacted with all kinds of people. I did all kinds of things. Again, not knowing what the future would hold. But right now, I found that it's added immense value in my life as a director, as an actor, as a writer. Then, one day, my brother calls me and tells me, hey, there's this ad in the newspaper. There's this group called Miujiza AIDS Cup is looking for actors. You've just been at home. So we apply for this thing. And I applied and got the job. And that's how now from there when I got into the AIDS Cup.
The AIDS campaigns.
Yes.
All right. Okay, at least now we've made the connection. So now, we were now talking about the films, and
Yes.
we were talking about Benta. Now, you're saying now when you did Benta, now that was the hallmark. That's where now the craft had started making sense.
Yes, because here's the thing. For Benta, I was a writer and an AD. I did not direct. I actually, apart from By Any Means Necessary, where I directed a few scenes because of circumstances. It was their first movie, it was low budget, so on one day you've got this director and this DOP, another day you've got a different DOP. In fact, if you watch By Any Means Necessary, please take time to read the credits. The credits again almost per scene because it was it was By Any Means Necessary. So Benta, because I was working with people who've gone and studied this, my colleagues, the ones I've mentioned to you, Mary Migwi, Chris Rohio, Wanjugu had gone to Daystar, they had studied this. So I was watching them doing their stuff. I was learning. My interest was still writing and getting movies made, but I was watching them and I was learning. And with them, we had done Backlash with them, which was a bit like the test. What else can we do? We had done a short movie called Wale Watu, which we got some small coins from KFC. We had done Benta, and for Benta we were aiming for bigger things, which didn't take off. But then, so after Benta, people went their different ways. Again, it's a collaboration that had lived to its end. People went their different ways to do their different thing. So I continued now with doing my stuff on my own, trying to get myself more into film. So I wrote my first movie-specific script, which was a movie called Obohos, which you edited at one point in your life.
Yes.
So Obohos was another collaborative effort.
And my good friend Lesh, he passed on last year, by the way. May he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. Oh
yes.
God, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he passed on last year. Yeah.
Even I was about to ask you what happened to him.
Yeah, unfortunately he passed on last year, and I think we celebrate his life.
Yeah, sure. So anyway, so we did both another collaborative effort with a different outfit. And again, we managed to make the movie. But then the movie ended up having it had its own problems. It had its own issues because of collaborative challenges, not being very clear about certain things. Every time you do something, it's a learning curve. Yes. I think right now the collaborative agreement I have, I think covers almost everything. But by then we were still undergoing teething problems, so we had issues with the Obohos. In fact, now after you guys had edited it, we reached a point where we had a total fallout with the partner I collaborated with, and total fallout. And actually, we ended up re-editing it, doing another fresh edit, and we released it as Obohos 2.0, which is a different edit from the ones that you guys did. Maybe you can actually watch them and see the differences and the similarities. So then, I realized that one of the challenges I had faced when I wanted to make movies was everybody is so secretive, and I'm being polite. They're secretive. Nobody wants to share. Nobody wants to mentor. Nobody wants to. People act like if you've come on my set, if I teach you something,
you're stealing.
Yeah, it goes out of my head.
Oh, you're taking away, like,
Yeah, it will leave my mind and it will become yours. And I will remain empty and you will grow. I came to realize that, coupled with the whole idea of return on investment cannot occur, I realized if I want to make movies, I need to work with people who are learning. I need to work with people who are willing to come in on a set, and by virtue of the fact that I've gotten the camera and I've paid and I've sorted out the production process, they will come and shoot for free. They will eat, but they will not charge me to shoot. And at the end of the day, they will gain experience. We will have a movie. We'll all have grown. Yes. Hopefully, the movie will get out to be seen, and we'll, in that way, also build a viewing culture. Because one of our problems is, it doesn't matter if we have an awesome movie, but if we have one awesome movie every 2 years, we shall never build a movie-going culture. True. It will be easier to follow Nigerian movies, and Ugandan movies, and Tanzanian movies. After all, they are making them more frequently. Yes. So I got into what I wanted to do was to train to make movies. And in fact, that has even now stilted. It's gone even further. I'm now training, not with feature films, because I realized, again, that was now too much it takes too long. It takes too long. And
a lot of effort.
Yeah, too long, too much effort. Too few people benefit from it. Because if I'm going to lock myself for 6 months to do a feature film with, let's say, 20, 30 people, that is only 20, 30 people. Yeah. But if I do a short film for Machawood, like for last year Machawood, we did 2 short films. And we knew if we get to win, well and good. If not, we are training. Yes. So two movies trained people, right? So that I've changed my shift. I want to work on training using shorts, but I still want to make now funded films. I want to fundraise and make at least maybe once every 2 years a well-funded film where you can pull out all the stops and not worry about rushing to finish the shoot, or I can't pay for this road, so let me use the one behind my house.
The back road.
Yeah, so that is where I am right now. Yeah, basically.
Because what you've talked about has captured my interest. That issue of collaboration, because we've sat here on Sinema Corner and talked to Zippy Okoth, Dr. Zippy Okoth, who has just produced a movie.
Yes.
I think it's still in the theaters.
Midlife Crisis.
Midlife Crisis. And she talked about the value of collaboration, meaningful collaboration where everyone knows what's their responsibility, what's their stake.
Right.
You started this, way back. You understand this. So what are these? Because I think you also did the same with AGT.
Yes. Actually, all the movies I've made are all collaborations. Yeah.
So, in terms of funding, how would you say you are able to fundraise for these movies?
Good question. Let me tell you how it works. What I bring to the table, I as CAJETAN, all I can bring, I bring a script. If you're interested in using me as a director, I can direct. Or maybe depending on the agreement, you might have another director. So I bring the script. So how do we do it? So now we have a script, the equipment. Over time, I've formed collaborative partners. There are lots of Kenyans, by the way, who have equipment that lies idle. Most of them are, I'm sorry to say this, are too mean to consider being a project that will help them and everybody else. They would rather wake up in the morning and polish their lenses, clean their edit suit, clean their lavalier mics, and look at them and say, wow, I've got gear.
Magnificent.
Yeah, magnificent. It is so good. In post, the people are like that. But then the other people who've got gear, they will tell you, give me a good schedule, I will avail it. I will even give you my skill. Now, I've been fortunate to meet such people. So the thing is the guy's schedule. So now that's where my challenge comes. I cannot do a movie that I will shoot for a whole month because the guy cannot give me his equipment and his time for a whole month. So I've got to work with shoots that are 7 to 10 days. And most of the time, if I'm like that, they'll agree. So now I've got a script. And since you guys think Kajetan is a good script writer, I come and I tell you, now I come to the actor. Now again, it's a balancing act. I can get an awesome experienced actor who I hope will come and work for me. Chances are they don't have the time because they're doing their paying gigs.
Yeah, like maybe a TV show or something.
Exactly. Some of them, not all of them, some of them come to the diva syndrome. Now that I'm the experienced guy and I'm the guy whose face is going to bring money to your movie, they come with now diva. Some insist, I don't mind doing this, but you have to pay me. So one of the things you will notice about my movies is most of my actors are new people. Apart from maybe an occasional cameo appearance by an actor who will say, okay, I'll come and do a small part. So I will go to actors who are interested, but I'm not going to either, they won't demand too much. That failing, I do not mind. I do not mind working with new actors. In fact, personally, I think, sorry for another time, but I think we've got very lazy directors who work with the same actors over and over again, you playing the same character the same way.
The same way. Yeah. Actually, different characters.
The same
way they played there.
Yes. So I have no problem with that. So that way I go, that's how I get my cast. And you'll find there are so many actors claiming, give me a chance, give me an opening. I am talented. So if you tell an actor clearly, I want to make this movie, I guarantee you one thing. The other thing I guarantee you is the movie will be screened. That much I guarantee you, the movie will be screened. During the shoot, you shall eat. During the shoot, if possible, transport utapewa. But other than that, I'm not paying you. I've never had a problem with actors, ranging from beginners to even experienced actors, provided you are clear from the word go. For Strata, I got experienced actors. 99% would not even ask for a cent. 99% of them did not, because they were clear of their terms and they knew the stuff will be released, and they were growing their craft and growing the industry. That is now cast. Crew, I am hoping the guy giving me the equipment can provide me with expertise, but at the same time I will bring in interns. I now approach guys who are in college. Hey, you're studying camera, kuja. Just like you guys edit up and Sinema. Here's an edit
depend. Yeah. That's what has given us the chuma kusonga.
Yes. So there again you have you sort out your crew. You try and barter. You try and again talk for locations. You try and negotiate with the people. Hey, can I get your location? I'll give you credits for your location. Sometimes I've been forced to guerrilla shoot. I will not mention which movies I have shot guerrilla shooting, but I go to an event which I am covering, and because I make a deal with the guy and I manage to shoot my scene within the event that is happening. That is locations. So the biggest cost, the cost I have to deal with and cannot escape, is food and transport.
And transport, logistics.
Yes, logistics. I cannot escape those costs. There was a time when tapes was a big cost.
Yeah.
You have to buy the tapes. Right now we've got the card to go and download. So again, what do I do about that cost? I tell you, Gabu, you're giving me the camera and the sound. See, we split this bill. Ya chakula. Yeah, I talk to somebody, maybe I talk with the editing team. So usually I will approach a different team to do editing. So I will break my collaborations into script, then camera, sound, lighting, editing, cast, crew. And I will try to get stuff free or to barter for it. I have, apart from, I'd say, my very first movie, By Any Means Necessary, apart from Obohos, I have not had hiccups about how the collaboration has gone. And for those two, it was an issue of clarity and people not understanding. Because sometimes what happens is, so I've made let's say Obohos. I've made Obohos. And it takes 1 year, a year and a half to get it on, let's say, Azam TV. Now, Azam TV, somebody is on Azam TV and they assume Azam TV is paying you the earth. They don't realize that Azam TV is like video on demand. I'm going to end up probably getting even less than $1,000. Before I facilitate some things, your pesa yamekwisha. But somebody now brings issues because they think you're making tons of money. So earlier on, I used to promise people the earth when they go to the collaborative agreements. I'd promise we'll get money by this time. If you you'll get money. Nowadays, I've learned the collaborative agreement is also just like how everybody's a part owner. So basically, everybody in this production, everybody providing a service or a skill is a part owner to this production. So the day money will come out, you'll get a percentage of that money based on the percentage of your ownership. Now you see, because I'm the one who's, maybe me and you are the one who's putting money for logistics. It means our percentage share is a bit higher. So that is where we are right now. The challenge is that the movies are not being picked up that fast, because again, you have this, it's really like a cat and mouse challenge thing, because you find the guys who acquire movies will tell you in 2020, they'll tell you, we want movies that were made 2 years ago. Now the movies I have to give them are not made 2 years ago. They were made 6, 5, 7, 8 years ago. So where do they want me to take those things? Again, that's unfair on these guys of video on demand. These broadcasters are very unfair on filmmakers.
Yeah.
Hollywood, they've got a channel that shows movies that were made in the 40s, for crying out loud. Yeah. But here they will insist on movies that were made 2 years ago. Again,
actually, even there are Kenyan channels which are still showing Charlie Chaplin movies.
Exactly.
The Trump, which were made in the 20s.
Yes, but they will want a Kenyan movie, they will want one that was made 2 years ago, or 1 year ago, and offer you peanuts to lock it for 2 years. So we as filmmakers, where we are, we have to find a way to make this thing without financial stress. Otherwise, we'll have no time for our creativity. I think in the next, like, let me put it this way, I'm really curious to find out from the producer of 40 Sticks if he's made back his investment, his ROI, by going on Netflix. I'm really curious, because our paradigm, what we use, it cannot help us make money. What do I mean? Hollywood, Bollywood, China, filmmakers make money from box office. That is the first place they make their money from, box office. In theater, I used to call it bums on seats. And it's really very simple. If I'm watching a movie in a theater, everybody sitting on a chair has paid. Yes. Meaning the filmmaker is getting for every seat. As soon as I go to DVD or streaming, you will put it on your TV and you'll call in your whole clan. You'll be watching with your whole family. 60 people will be watching that one movie. So the first frontier of making money for a filmmaker should be box office. Box office. Yes. Box office, followed by DVDs. Then you go to streaming and the rest. But here we've got that whole thing back to front. There is no way, based on a broadcaster buying my product, I'm going to make my return on investment back if my budget was more than 70,000 shillings. Because that is what I'll be offered for a 1 hour movie. 70,000. This is what they were. Maybe unless they've changed in the past 1 year. But in the past, most broadcasters will tell you, you've got a movie, a good movie. Okay. Well, no, kudos KFC for their content acquisition. Have given us slightly more. But basically, for a broadcaster, will probably give you 10%. Maybe between 1 and 5% of your budget when they put it on air. So if we have to make money from box office, we have to change our viewing culture. When I was growing up, I mentioned when I was growing up, and my dad was a general manager, there was Fox theaters, but there was Cameo, Casino, Bellevue, Sun City. There were theaters all over Nairobi. Odeon. Yeah. There were theaters such that we, as viewers, we had options. Kama sisi ya Ford Kenya Sinema ndenda hiyo Odeon wachozie continuous show.
Hello. Sasha! Sasha!
No? Hello? We have nothing to talk about. Goodbye. Stupid.
Wilson.
Yeah.
Now you listen. If you can't take no for an answer, then you're a poorer example of a man than I first thought.
Why did you just tell me to my face? How am I supposed to read your mind? Or you thought I wouldn't handle it?
Felix, what are you talking about?
Last night, I proposed to you. And you told me to call you today. Just now when I was busy...
Felix, listen. Listen. You see, Sasha's ex has been trying to call to get into her good books and...
So you tried to help her out?
Come on, she's my roommate for crying out
And I'm your
loud.
boyfriend, goddammit. And I'm busy trying to take us to the next level. And you're busy helping other people out with their problems. Josie, just tell me if you want to marry me or not.
Felix, I need more time.
Are you sure you didn't know it was me?
You didn't even say a word now, did you?
I'll give you more time.
I'm sorry. But if that means anything, can we at least be friends?
I guess I should be leaving. Josie.
Felix. I hate this.
Josie? Josie, are you okay? Are you okay?
It was Felix calling, not Wilson.
What?
And he actually thinks I was saying no to his proposition.
Good grief.
There's nothing like good grief. Oh.
But you managed to take care of it, didn't you?
But I had to tell him I wasn't going to marry him.
How did you take it?
You can't believe it, but the guy just stood there and said, well, I guess I better be going.
Oh, that's...
Oh, Sasha, I wish you'd called me names. Cuss. Oh, damn it. Damn.
You were emotionally involved, weren't you?
Sasha, even you get emotionally involved now, don't you? Sasha. I think I'm going to accept the transfer.
Going to miss you.
Stop making a fuss. There's email, phone, plus you can come over whenever you want, once in a while.
Yeah, I guess, but...
Hey, yes, and the sooner the better. Hey, come in.
Hello? Max, I've just been thinking about you. How are you?
Cool. I was thinking of taking you for an outing. Golf game fast, then we can do whatever we wish.
Depends on where.
Lake Naivasha.
I'd love to, but I've got a friend with me.
Oh, that's cool. Just bring her along. The more, the merrier.
Great.
I'll see you in an hour.
Okay, we'll be ready. Bye.
Bye.
We have been invited for a golf tournament and sleepover at Lake Naivasha. Transport picks us up in an hour.
I'm not so sure.
Everything is catered for. Food, drinks, and men.
Sasha, I know nothing about golf. I don't even like it. It's boring.
My sentiments exactly. But the men don't have to know that now, do they?
Oh,
Nah. How old is it?
That's a boy.
You mean you already know? You don't want to be surprised?
No way. I want correct clothes, names, toys. I mean, everything ready for his delivery.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
But you didn't have to trap this one.
You'd lose. I mean, that's why everything was hush-hush. I didn't want my history catching up with me before the vows.
But what if it does now? You're both in town.
It's not gonna change anything now, really.
You think?
After spending hundreds of thousands on the wedding, inviting hundreds of friends, and vowing till death do us part, I don't think he's...
Welcome back. So we were talking about film distribution.
Yes.
And the possibility of actually making money from distributing our films. Like for you, all these movies you've made, and you have made a lot of movies. Hizo akina AGT, Obohos, Backlash, By Any Means Necessary. Like, kuna movie yoyote yenye umefanya that you'd say you made money out of it?
No. No, frankly, no. Because I'll tell you, first of all, even if I just quantify actual cash spent, I will say that logistics will probably take, okay, if I take a movie like Strata, my logistics probably came up to about 200,000. Now, even without counting the contribution of the people of new equipment and skill, and time, not counting that, if I sell my movie to a broadcaster, they will offer me at maximum 100,000. So I have to sell it at least twice. Now keep in mind that when you are going to sell your movie to broadcasters, they ask you about the broadcast history. So as soon as I tell you my movie has shown on channel A and B, you offer me less. Because you tell me, oh, it's already been seen by these people. Well, I can't offer you that amount of money. I have to offer you less. So it's part truthful, part false, that you can make your money from selling to multiple broadcasters. Yes, you can, but it might take you your lifetime.
Okay.
So the only solution, as I was saying, is bums on seats, is theaters. Theaters have to be opened. People have to sit and pay tickets. And that money very easily accounted and very easily going to different places for distribution, for the production. Because as I say, as soon as you go on TV, first of all, they lock it. There are two types of contracts, exclusive and exclusive. Most of them will mix it. They'll tell you if it's exclusive, for 6 months, this movie you cannot sell it to anybody else.
And you cannot show it anywhere else?
Anywhere else. Yeah, especially if it's competing kind of medium.
Uh-huh.
Then for another 6 months, yes, you can show it to certain, you can sell it, but we can also still show it. So you can imagine the new person you are selling it to. When you tell them, I'm selling it to you, but it can still appear on that other channel.
It becomes a problem.
It becomes a problem. So I insist. we have got to reclaim the lost theatres. We have got to open more. Every county needs to have a theatre that can seat at least 100 people. If I can walk into every county carrying my movie on my flash disk and plug it in and charge 50 bob, whatever amount I want to charge, without worrying about bringing in the sound, bringing in the lights, bringing in the projector, you're helping me as a filmmaker. Right now, if I want to show my film, where do I go? The venues I will go to cut off maybe half of my audience. If I want my audience that is mostly Marud boys, people from down or the lower socio-economic bracket to come and watch this movie, but why am I screening the movie in Parklands?
Or in Garden City.
Yeah, or in Galleria. How is my audience going to interact with me? If I want to show it in Kibera, where am I going to show it? There's no theatre. Yeah. So really, for me, the distribution, if the filmmakers are to make money, it does not matter how high our quality becomes technically. It doesn't matter how good our stories become. But if you don't have a distribution system that favors us, we are going nowhere. I've never seen, just last thing, I've never seen, that's why I was curious about the 40 sticks thing. I've never seen a movie on Netflix on any other channel.
Yeah.
Meaning, if a movie is on Netflix, they have locked it. God knows for how long. They better be giving you a bucket full of money to at least cover your production costs.
You know, you've mentioned the idea of theaters, and you know, you aroused my curiosity about, you know, when you were growing up. Of course, I don't know, because you at least you grew up when all those cinemas were operational.
Yes.
But when I was growing up, huko mtaani Islando kulikuwa na those cinemas za nini, just za mtaani tu.
Yes.
You know, guys would just make wooden benches, and then you'd go cinemas za Kobole, 10 bob, and then you'd go and watch mostly kung fu and all that. So that means it was actually possible for just any private individual to invest in a cinema hall. Yes. You know, it didn't matter, like it didn't matter how rudimentary it looked, or just, it just basically meant that it was possible.
Yes.
So is it possible for that model to come back, and do our policies actually allow for that to happen as we are?
Good thing you mentioned when you say policy. We talk about an enabling environment for filmmakers. Unfortunately, Kenya does not have an enabling environment for a filmmaker. Why? So if I want to make a movie, after writing my script, I've got to take this script to the Kenya Film Classification Board. If I want to shoot, for them to look at the script before they give me permission to shoot. Then I have to pay a license for general shooting. Then I have to pay a license for shooting days.
Days, yeah. For every day that you'll be shooting.
Yes. Then I have to pay a license for classification. Anybody who shows a movie needs a license for exhibition.
And copyright.
Yes. So the environment is not enabling. It is all lip service. The government claims to be helping the creatives, the filmmakers, but they don't. Right now, they should make it more enabling for that person, as you say, to put up any structure, provided, obviously, he will not show movies that are unsuitable. Yeah. Provided, they should make it easy. But I don't know how much an exhibition license costs, but I'm sure it's not free. I'm sure it's not free. So it's about making the environment enabling for the Kenyan filmmaker, such that it is easy to make the movie, it is easy to show the movie. Because if a movie is not seen, it doesn't exist. I keep on telling people that a movie that is not watched doesn't exist, even if you have it in your computer. If the general public, like me, I've got movies that don't exist because I'm the only one who knows and watches them. Yeah, I'm the one who watches them. The movies have to reach the audience. They have to comment. They have to see their lives there. That's how you will grow as a filmmaker. That's how they'll grow as an audience watching our stuff. So it is really up to the government. And maybe it might be, and people might bite off my head, but it might be back to front. I think pouring money into production is awesome, yeah. But this movie is going to be produced and it's going to be shown where? At Sarit, at a festival in Europe, where? Start by first of all giving us spaces to show these movies. We've got movies that have been made before. Yes. They can be channeled to these spaces to make these spaces viable. As now filmmakers make new movies to come to these spaces. But right now we're making movies, and I love it. We're making movies, but some of the movies, like for instance, You just think about, you don't have to answer this. But no, maybe you are different because you are a film enthusiast and a film teacher. But I can bet you, most of the people who are voting for Kalasha and Kisima have not watched most of those movies.
Actually, that's very true.
Yeah. So you see, we like living a lie. We like living. So it is very simple. Again, really. How hard is it?
We actually vote for our Facebook friends.
Exactly.
Guys, we know, oh, I know Kajetan,
Exactly.
no, I know that guy, so, oh, that movie. Everyone is talking about it, let me just vote. I don't know who these lighting guys are, but let me...
A movie that is nominated, I don't know whether you guys had them, Factual Cinema. Where the open air screenings. A movie that is nominated should have open air screenings, so crying out loud.
Watoto kaeni chini.
Yes. Should we have open air screening so the audience knows, there's a Kenyan movie that looks like this. So even when they're voting for something that they know. The filmmaker gets known. Right now, the only people who know me are the ones who've got start times up on their phone. Really, how much are you helping that filmmaker? Yeah, we need to be a bit honest with our initiatives, our assistance that we are giving the filmmaker, and at the end of the day, our goals. Yeah, I don't know.
How then? If because right now a good population of Kenyans who have buying power are online, and it's actually possible now to have an online platform where you don't have anyone breathing down your neck. For instance, like what we do here on Sinema Corner, it's on our Sinema Corner channel. Well, it's not making money, but for someone who wants to make money, it's possible to know how to maneuver around YouTube and other platforms to actually be able to make some money out of it, because we have guys who are doing reality shows, couples who are showing their lives and making some money out of it. So how do we harness that platform to become our second level watoto kaeni chini?
Somebody once said, how come Upper Kenya, we're not like South Africa, where we've got a company that just deals with makeup only? How come not like South Africa, we've got a company that just deals with doing destruction of scenes, flooding scenes or bombarding them? And it's the same question that you're asking. How come we don't have people who are leveraging on that social media? And I tell you, it boils down to numbers. You will right now, you'll not stop your career right now teaching film and become a social media marketer in a country where one movie is made per year. Even if you sell that one movie, how much money will you make? But if there were 20 blockbuster movies being made in Kenya every year, you'd tell yourself, hey, if I can just get a quarter of them, which is five, I'll make my money. Yeah? If you know that there are 20 movies that require post-production services and they can pay, you'll set up a company that does post-production services. But right now, how will you do anything for the one movie that can pay you per year? You'd rather opt, yes, it is in numbers. From quantity comes quality and comes other services. When you sit down and realize, all the movies that have entered for this festival, all of them shida yao is color grading. Now, I can open a color grading company if I charge reasonably. Now we are going somewhere because you're talking about 20 movies. You approach the 20 producers. Maybe only 2 will agree. But at least now, you've got 2 clients. Yeah. You got to open a color grading company for one movie. And that's why I say it again comes back to what I say, passion. We have, unfortunately, the creatives, the arts. The arts is a place that fakers can come and masquerade. People can come and pretend, I am a writer. Nakuna kitu ufanya, mimi msanii, mimi act, mimi uimba. Because hakuna, si kama lawyers ama doctors waulizwa nionyeshe proof. And because of that, again, is where our industry suffers. There are too many people who masquerade as filmmakers, as creatives, and they also give us a bad name. Because really, you're in a WhatsApp group of 100 people who claim to be filmmakers, yet in 1 year, that whole group have only made 2 movies. Honestly, there's a disconnect somewhere. Isn't it? True. There's a disconnect somewhere. So for me, it's a lack of passion and masqueraders. People who are passionate have got to start doing it. It will show. But it already shows. If you look around, you will just see. As you say, you might not have many viewers on your channel, but there's a channel that every so often something is happening. Yes. It shows. It is different from the guy who talks long phrases, big things, post updates of God knows what on Facebook, but tell them, show me your product. Nothing. We need, and it starts from in-house, we need to get rid of quacks. I don't know how we can do it, considering that you're not like doctors. We don't have classifications and qualifications to become. Anybody can come and say, I'm a DOP. We won't ask you. But you can't say, I'm a lawyer. We'll ask you, what did you study? I'm a doctor. And it doesn't have to be academic, but there has to be, even if attached to body of work,
Yes.
there has to be a way to say, this amount of work is equal to this certificate, is equal to this. It makes you, therefore, a DOP. Or it makes you an actor. Or it makes you this. But we're in a state where anybody can claim anything. And a lot of the times, sometimes the people with the connections are the ones who get more connections and mess them up. So the people who've got nothing never get anything.
There's this debate that has been raging, well, mostly online, and it involves mostly it's about actors, and you hear people talking about, we keep seeing the same faces every time, why don't we change the faces? So of course many people will have their defense and say, well, we are professional. What do you expect? You guys are not professional. That's why you're not getting gigs. You're not attending auditions. And even lately I saw some of the child actors, like some of the ones who are in Machachari. Some of them even have are now, wanazusha sahi. Wanasema they've not been treated well. They were taught to be actors. They were taught that they belong to this industry, and then they've grown up, they've broken their voices, and suddenly no one is interested.
Job.
So what are we doing wrong? How do we find our footing? How do we accommodate everyone within the industry and at the same time continue to maintain standards?
I'm sorry to sound like a broken record, but it's going to come back to what I'm saying. It is passion. Because from passion, we'll get volumes. From volumes, there'll be space for all people, or for most people. As long as one production house, that's an example, as long as one production house is running TV production, they will work with the people they consider safe. And I put safe in quotes.
Yes.
Safe might be because I've got a lazy director, therefore I want an actor who directs themselves. Safe might be, I am not giving people the best terms, so I want people who do not question. Safe might be, I want high profit margins, therefore I want to shoot as quickly as possible, therefore I want to use only seasoned people. There are various reasons, but for me, it boils down to the people, anybody who claims to be a filmmaker can only claim that by making a film. And if we all made films, and I'm glad I see some people from KU, some young filmmakers from KU, every film competition, they've submitted something, and that is amazing. That is what people should be doing. But we have got this mentality. I am a writer, but I'm waiting to read in the newspaper that there's a tender that wants a writer who they are going to pay 1 million shillings before I lift my pen or open my keyboard. The people who do it have to start doing it. Should not be discouraged. They should do it by any means necessary. They should do it knowing that you build. Know that you build on your craft. You build on your craft. Anybody telling you that to wait for that blockbuster movie, then you come for the audition, you'll go for that audition, you won't get the part. The person who will get the part will be a seasoned actor. Now, back to the thing of same actors. I have got a beef. I've got a big beef with Kenyan directors, a lot of them. A lot of them are lazy. And therefore they find it easy to cast you to play the same role in the same way. Just unakumbuka vile ulifanya ile kwa ile movie, act tu hivyo. Act tu hivyo, tufanya tu hivyo. Because they are lazy. They're afraid to push the actor. They're afraid to use new actors. They're also under pressure from producers to do it quickly. I always say, and I don't see it any other way, the buck stops to the director. If the actor is lousy, it's the director's fault. If the sound is bad, it's the director's fault. If the edit is bad, it's the director's fault. We have got lazy directors. Most of them are lazy because they're inexperienced. Most of them are inexperienced because they're probably directing their first thing and they are directing 50 people. They are directing a feature film. I'm not saying you cannot be a first-time director, but again, a lot of things, the things that people are supposed to do in film school, and even if not in film school, is to do the shots, the small things as you learn your craft, and you know what you do best. Yeah. So we really need to push people, if you can use that word, if the phrase is push. Although I might say it's looking really good, because nowadays every competition, mobile phone competition, you find they've got lots of entries. Every match with lots of entries. All competitions have got lots of entries. Now we've got to find a way to take those entries to the people. Let the Kenyan audience see them and know, we've got other stars apart from the ones we see on TV. Let the filmmaker know my work has been seen out there. By hearing people telling me my character is weak and stuff, that is what makes me grow. Right now, all those movies, all those competitions, where are they? Archived somewhere safely for who? For what? Who are they benefiting? We have got a problem. We have got material. Can we start showing it
to the real audience?
Yes. Right now, if you put something in a social hall somewhere, they are complaining about people, watoto wanapotea, wanarandaranda, they are getting into immoral behavior. There's a social hall somewhere, you are showing Kenyan shots and you're charging 5 or 10 shillings. What was that? They'll bring their kids there.
Yes.
And there are Kenyan movies. They'll like, out of the 10 shots you'll show in the morning, watapenda moja, they'll hate one will inspire them to try to be a filmmaker or change their ways. What are you doing? We are feeding them Mexican soaps. We are feeding them Spanish soaps, Filipino soaps. Yeah. So really, as I say, we are living a lie. And I'm sorry to say this. The bodies, the Kenya Film Commissions, the Kenya Film Classification Board, who do you work for? Because to me, you don't work for the Kenyan population. I'm not sure who you work for. You don't work for the filmmaker, and you don't work for the Kenyan population, because the Kenyan population never sees the job you are doing. So really, what do you guys do? I don't know.
Wow. Okay. I think this conversation will continue. This conversation will definitely continue, because there are many things. There are many things to talk about. There are many things to talk about, especially on matters of how we will be able to get our films to our audiences. And that is something I keep asking every director, every producer that I meet. How do you make sure that your movies are being watched?
And I tell you, I think the solutions I was suggesting, I think it's a matter of law. Every county must have a social hall or something. Social halls is the time when every estate had a social hall.
Actually several, because like I went to school in Kayole. We had Kayole 1. I think it was every ward or every zone.
Now
it had a social hall. Yeah.
Tell me, what would it cost to change one social hall and give the capability to screen movies?
It's a very good question.
Then, and I'm back to it from there. That boy who is shooting a movie in Kayole, who does not have the resources or the clout or the following to take it to IMAX, after he finishes, he'll go and talk to the chief, because it is enabling for the filmmaker. Maybe the rate is so cheap, lipa so. He pays hiyo so yake, anaenda naweka hiyo video yake, anaweka the flash, and he shows it for 1 bob, 2 bob, 10 bob for free. But you start getting places where people can sit and watch. You start content being seen. Right now, I'm telling you as a person who has struggled to make movies, I have not given up, because I have decided to try and teach. One of the hardest things to do is to get your stuff watched. It's one of the hardest things to do. You get one of the big theaters, if you're not feeling it, they'll give you a slot on a weekday, a very odd time, Satano on a Tuesday. Who comes to watch movies Satano on a Tuesday? You don't have resources to screen the movie by yourself.
Yeah.
Sijui kama unanigeta, shida iko. If they fix for us pale kupeleka hiyo movie, if you tell me KFCB ile wamechukua Nairobi Cinema, bring it here, we will show it for you for 1 week. Do you think I'll take my movies? Would other people take their movies? Hata kama ni for free. So I can just tell my friends, movie yangu kwa Kenya Cinema mulimiss kuiona, enda muione Nairobi Cinema.
Untie him. Then get out.
Should have known you're behind this. Why am I here?
Your passion for your work is the cause of all your problems.
Why am I here?
I want to make you an offer that you can't refuse. Don't try anything foolish. Do you think you can change things that other people better than yourself have tried and have failed?
We stop trying, we'd still be living in caves.
Are you so tired of your life that you want to throw it away?
Life's not worth living unless you have something to die for.
Huh. It's not worth dying unless you have something to live for. I'm the only one here.
Aren't you scared? Are you saying you've never made any enemies?
You can't harm me. And if you try anything foolish, you're a dead man.
You talked about an offer. Talk.
You know, if you change your perspective, many interesting doors could open.
What's in it for me?
Money. Lots of it. And power.
Can you afford me? Say 10 million shillings.
What? That's a bit steep, don't you think? Give me your account number. Wait. From now on, you write what we tell you when we tell you to.
For monthly retainer, say 100,000 shillings.
So how about a real drink to celebrate?
No, thank you. We're not partners yet.
All right. Come back at 8. I'll have sorted everything out by then.
You talked about power. What do I get?
You still want that. You know, power corrupts, especially when you acquire it late.
No, it doesn't. It only attracts the corruptible.
All right, I'll give you what you want. I have friends who have friends. It's true what you said. Power does attract the corruptible.
I need an advance. Call it goodwill.
Spoken like a true Kenyan. All right. As I say, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Here's a list of public officials who've been involved in underhand deals.
What do you want me to do?
Do what you do best. Get the facts.
These must be enemies of yours.
As George W. Bush once said, either you're with us or you're against us.
What if I had refused to cooperate?
did cooperate. Ah. Ah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. What do you want?
CAJETAN, knowing that already like kulikuwa na hizo systems, kulikuwa na Sinema, we had people like Nduti who are who are supplying movies. We had even movie libraries kama more movies in ile Crucial. We had another, there were many. So that means we are not dealing with a new problem, or we are not coming up with new solutions now that tulikuwa hadi na watoto kaeni chini social halls. What is there for the future?
It is I think unless we change the end of the movie, which is the viewer, unless we change it and get it to be viewer oriented, to be box office oriented, to help filmmakers make money from box office, I think we are going to be stuck in the same space where we are now. You get one movie per year done by an NGO, one done by a person who's really put their funds together and has got a lot of passion, and 2 or 3 others just done by people who just want to make movies. We will get nothing that anybody is aiming to make money from. Because I tell you, most people, once they make the movie, their first movie, they realize making money is so hard from it. And as I say, I think the solution is really simple. We've got it back to front. We are dealing with a supply, we are dealing with supplying stuff when we have not dealt with the way it's going, the demand. Already based on the movies that have been done in Kenya since independence, there is enough content to put in spaces if you opened up the spaces. And I think that's what we should do. We should open up the spaces, put in even old content, help the filmmaker monetize, even if it is to a small extent. They start monetizing, the audience realizes, nowadays there'll be movies shown over here. The possible investor realizes, movies are being shown and audiences are going in. And therefore, you get a person investing in a movie and having the movie screening. Right now, I think a lot of people, and not all are succeeding, are making movies hoping they'll end up on Netflix. One, is such a big gamble, number one. Number two, from what I gather, Netflix, when you get a Netflix contract, it's got so many NDAs, and they are so heavy that you'll hardly get to know anything about a Netflix contract. Right now, try and find out, try and ask somebody, how long is your contract with the Netflix for? How much are they paying you? You'll hardly get any information.
Because of the NDAs.
Yes. So we need, and this would be my plea. Me, I'd tell the government, you need to get back those social halls. You need to open them up for the arts, whether it is drama, whether it is dancing, whether it's movie, for sports. Because from there on, it means I can start showing my things at a low level, at a local level, and grow from there. Yeah.
Grow your audience from the community.
Right.
kuna kitu hatukuwa tumemaliza, because I think when we talk about government it's a one amorphous thing, but we have two organizations, right. KFC and KFCB. Are they doing enough?
Okay, let me start. I will start with the KFCB. I certainly do not think KFCB are doing enough. They have taken a part of their mandate and made it their main thing about the whole clean content thing. They are not doing enough. If anything, I think they are quite a stumbling block to the filmmaker because of the number of licenses you've got to get from them before you can even make a movie. Then you've got to pay for classification. The question is, what service do they give me for paying that license? If they could at least tell me that once you make your movie, you can come and show it at our theater because they have a theater for free, they would be offering me something. They have a theater right now. They are charging filmmakers. They're supporting everything apart from the filmmaker. Frankly, I do not personally do not think they're doing enough. Personally, it is good for them to give $1 million shillings to one filmmaker to have grown the industry more, to give 100,000 to 10 filmmakers. That is my take. KFC, I can see they're pushing. They're trying to push their mandate. They're trying to help the filmmaker. They did recently a content acquisition thing, which I think was amazing. They bought content from filmmakers, old content, which is going to be aired, I think, on KBC, another channel. I think that is amazing. They've got a program for production. They've got a program for development. They've got a program for distribution. I think those are all amazing things. I wish, as I said, maybe if they could just tilt their budget kidogo and put something in the exhibition spaces. Give us more spaces to show those movies. Because I tell you, 47 counties. Is it counties that are 47? Yeah, 47 county. If each county... 90 constituencies. Okay, let's look at it at a county level. If each county just had one space that I can show a movie to, let's say, that can sit 200 people, then I come and show my movie for 200 people for 100 shillings each. That is 2,000 shillings times 47 counties. 20,000. Yeah, 20,000 times 47 counties. That is not a bad sum of money. It's a good sum of money. Yeah, and all I need to do is to carry myself on a DVD or a flash, come and plug it in and do some publicity for it. And I'm talking about very low figures. The more I do it and the better the movie, the more I can charge. Yes. Yeah, that would make a difference to a lot of the lives of the filmmakers. But right now, once my movie is made and I've paid for classification, once KFC has supported me, they've supported me in making the movie. Once I have the movie in my computer, the next question is now, where do I take it? If I take it to any theater, they want 50%, and they don't do advertising for you. Because all these Hollywood movies, Bollywood movies, when they're being brought to these theaters, the advertising is already included in the package that comes here. So really, and I can't say this enough, I am very grateful what has been done so far, but they now need to turn this thing upside down and look at the end. It is pointless to have all of us with movies which have never been seen or have been watched by only 10 people. And while you talk about streaming, have you ever tried to watch some of these movies when they're being streamed live on YouTube and Facebook? 10 people, 15 people, 30 people. So again, streaming is not the solution, not for us. Not for us. We need to take our movies to the audience. And that means either watoto kaeni chini or theater spaces, viewing spaces uko kwao. It is not going to work for us to hope that the guy who I'm making my Sheng movie, who I'm targeting the Islando boy for my Sheng movie, it is unrealistic for me to hope that he's going to take his time and go to IMAX Parklands to watch that same movie. So for me, I would say that is the thing. I would say, one, we need passion from the filmmakers. From the government, we need more actual support and not lip service. And that includes the exhibition thing. And then to the filmmakers, I will tell the filmmakers, if you're not mentoring, you're doing a disservice. And I repeat, if you're not mentoring, you're doing a disservice. It's not going to cost your bottom line anything to have 2 trainees on your set. They will not affect your bottom line. But this whole thing of we don't do apprenticeship, there are those who have gone to study. Good for them, they will hope to get an attachment for. But kuna interest hata wezi afford. We must look into mentoring and apprenticeship. Otherwise, what are you doing? What are you doing as a filmmaker? If you I mean, I don't know. I think it is clear enough. If you're a filmmaker,
you need to do mentorship.
Yes. Otherwise, you are doing the industry a disservice. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I think that has been a very uplifting conversation, and I'm sure we'll continue with this conversation. And rather, I feel tumeongea about a lot of things, and there's one person I know we need to recognize. Najua amekuwa kwa jani yako sana. Carol.
Well, Carol, I met Carol in Mujiza, AIDS Cup. That is where I met Carol.
Wow.
She was also in AIDS Cup, Mujiza, and we met there, and our journey began there. She is more focused on the angle of directing. She's more a director.
She directed Obohos actually.
Yes. And also she's directed a lot of TV. She's doing a lot of TV directing, but her main area is directing. And I think she's a very, very strong director, an amazing director. I kind of moved into, rather not moved, I focused more on writing and what I would call independent production, because as it happens in this industry, if you're too outspoken, you get on the invisible blacklist. And you know that invisible blacklist, it is hard to get jobs. So I have a reputation of being difficult. And yes, I am difficult. If things are not up to standard, I am difficult. If you try to con me, I am difficult. If you don't pull your weight, I am difficult. If there are vague areas, I am difficult. So you'll find that when it comes to production, the only way you can succeed in this country is to be an independent producer. In fact, it is really sad. One of the sad things I feel most as a creative is for the writers. Because the writers, a lot of people think writing is easy. So they do not seek professional writers or qualified writers. A lot of writers have got good stuff, but because it seems complicated to the lazy directors, the lazy producers, it is not taken. I'll just give a case in point. You can look at a script like 40 Sticks. Regardless of what you think about the movie, but the genre that was taken in 40 Sticks is totally different from everything else that everybody else has been doing.
Yeah.
And you ask yourself, why not? Yeah, simply because one producer was brave enough to tell a writer and a creative at the story, I'll do this story for you. So producers need to grow balls and become courageous and daring. Directors also need to stop playing it safe. Become daring with what you direct, become daring with who you cast. Actors, please don't be satisfied with playing the same character over and over again. I know it's about money and survival, but really some actors we are tired of seeing, because as soon as we see, we know how they are going to
what
deliver.
they are going to bring.
We know how they are going to deliver. Yeah, and then I'd say everything else has grown. Picture quality has really improved. Color has improved. Sound has improved. Editing has improved. But what knits them together
is what is lacking.
Yeah, the story.
Wow, that's a good place to end today's session. We will do this again. There are so many things we can talk about. Like you know, you've been doing mentorship a lot, especially on writing. There's the efforts you've been doing with the Kenya Scriptwriters Guild. There's just so much I'm sure you'll be able to cover, and also now go deep into the understanding of the movies that you've been able to do. And all that now to chambue your content vizuri, so we'll do a session for that. Otherwise, for today, I want to say thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving us your time, and as Sinema Corner, we appreciate. We are trying to tell the story of the Kenyan film industry, one story, one person at a time, and I'm sure we will manage.
Okay, yeah.
We will manage. So thank you for your support. As always, our people who are Sinema Corner, keep watching our content, subscribe to our channel, and comment. Tuambie ni nani unataka tukuletee hapa. Tuambie ni nani unataka kuona hapa, whose story you want to hear, who you want to inspire you. and then tutaendelea kusonga. So thank you very much and see you next time.
Can I, one thing? Can I,
yes.
I want to advertise myself a bit.
Oh, yes.
Because of my interest, major interest is scripting, is writing. And because of having seen there's a big gap in writing, I run an online scripting class. So if anybody is interested in learning the craft of writing at their own pace, at their own time, it's 100% online, 100% exercise intensive. You come in with an idea and you come out with a screenplay. Let them get in touch with you guys, then you can put them in touch with me.
Sawa sawa. Yes. So yeah, you can link up with us on our Facebook page, Sinema Corner. You can link us. You can link with us on our Instagram, Sinema Corner, or you can send your email to allartsinclusiveafrica@gmail.com to talk to us. You can always find our contacts. Keep talking to us, and we will get Kajetan to you, and we will get Watoto Kaeni Chini back in our lives.
That's
Thank you very much, and
Thank
God bless you.